This is a true story. I hope you can listen patiently. He was born in a small village, and his parents were farmers and have lived there for generations. He has a younger brother and a sister. He washed clothes and cooked for them since he was young and acted as their nanny. Poor children take charge early. Since he was young, a girl with a high spirit, she felt that shouldn't be born into such a family. She should have been born in rich and powerful family, but she couldn't choose her birth. She knew that only by studying hard could change her destiny. Her mother, Izzy, only had a third-grade education, short woman who married a man who liked to drink. She was busy for her husband and children every day, busy at home and in the fields. She never had herself. In his little heart, such a life was really boring. He never received more love from her parents. Since he was a child, he knew to give the delicious food and fun things to his younger siblings, and never thought of competing for favor. Every day when she went to school, the daughter of the chicken farmer next door would ask him to go together. The girls of her age all dressed up, while her clothes were the simplest and most ordinary. She wasn't without envy. One year during the spring festival, she saw a small dress with lace trim. Her eyes were fixed on it. At this time, her mother put her away, murmuring that it was too expensive. It was a bag of grain. In the following nights, she dreamed of that little dress, and tears wet the pillow towel. She was so annoyed. Why was she born into such a family, and why I have such a mother? In her childhood, she had no toys or beautiful clothes, only premature births that shouldn't belong to him. In front of outsiders, always pretended to be that he didn't care because he has the most proud capital. His grades were the first in the grade. His parents didn't notice this silent determination of this same girl, although they are happy with his grades. But he was under a lot of pressure because he has pinned his hopes on this. He wants to go to college, to the distant capital. Sometimes he fails the exam occasionally, or he doesn't eat or work hard, and he never told his parents, and his mother would not understand. His mother and didn't know how to the best learning methods and guidance. When he was 13, she had her first period, and the bright red blood kept flowing out, and her stomach hurt badly. He was scared. She thought she was going to die. She secretly went to ask her cousin in the same village, who bought her sanitary napkins and told her a lot of relevant knowledge. But his mother didn't know until later. Her daughter had grown up, but as every woman grows, but as a mother, didn't give her more care or even a word of concern. She didn't say a word. He grew up lonely. Many times, she thought that when she had a daughter, she must teach her many things in advance. Teach her, and he would never let her feel lonely and confused. Facing all kinds of troubles in growing up, the gap between him and his mother deepened. He felt that in terms of spirit and material, his mother owed him. He was admitted to the best high school in the provincial capital, but the tuition there was expensive, and there are 2 children in school at home, which is impossible to afford. So he chose a 普通高中 that could exempt him from 3 years tuition. A regular high school, a real talent will shine wherever he is. He believed in himself. He never attended birthday parties of his classmates because he couldn't afford nice birthday gifts, and his own birthday was often forgotten. His parents never buy him a birthday cake. Often classmates' parents come to visit their children, but he never dared to hope his parents could come because they don't have time. Even if they have time, it was impossible for them to buy him supplements or anything else. In 3 years of high school, his mother only came once, bringing some melons to see him. His mother's head was covered with dew and left after saying less than 3 words to him. When he was out of school, he went to the place to find his parents and wanted to help sell melons. But when he got closer, he couldn't call out. He was afraid that his classmates would see him and laugh at him. His parents didn't say a word, just told him to go back to school and not to delay his studies. His mother needed to use the toilet, so he took his mother to the public toilet. His mother was angry. Why do I have to pay for using the toilet? After coming out of the bathroom, he heard someone behind him say, "You don't flush the toilet after using it." What a lack of quality. His mother didn't know how to use. She didn't know how to use the small button. Almost burst into tears. He knew he couldn't blame his mother. His mother was just an uneducated, rural woman, but he had a little resentment in his heart. If only my mother wasn't like this, it would be great. During the college entrance examination, she failed in universities in Beijing. Eventually, she was admitted to a university in the capital. She applied for student loans for tuition fees, and she also received a first-class scholarship every year. She would do tutoring or promotion on weekends or promotions. Her parents only occasionally sent her a few hundred yuan, and it was squeezed out of their teeth. Among her classmates have parents who are high-ranking officials, intellectuals. Sometimes, he heard his classmates calling their mothers, calling her mother darling, dear mom, I miss you. He really envied them. He could never say to his mother, say such words, while his mother, and never say to him, I miss you. His growing environment is different from theirs. He never mentions his parents. He was slowly changed by the city, and learned to eat MC donuts. He occasionally goes to coffee with others, and go singing together. Many times, he thought this is the life he wants, but his mother, in her life, has never had such a quality of life. Once when he went home for the Spring Festival, his mother looked at his lace jeans and brand lipstick and shook her head. He didn't think so. He earned them all by himself. He increasingly felt that the generation gap between him and his mother was too deep, and the generation gap was not because the complete difference between the two generations, in his opinion, was more because his mother was not educated. He couldn't explain to his mother to talk about the world at home and abroad, but his mother only cares about the grain yield, crop yield, and children's grades. While eating, he felt that his mother, her eating noises were too loud, and he found for the first time his mother ate like a man, ate 2 bowls of rice. He couldn't help but feel disgusted. Another voice kept telling him, this is your mother, no matter what, you should respect her. But that kind of discomfort seemed to have taken root in his heart, and deeply rooted, making him want to escape involuntarily. After graduating from college, he passed the civil service exam, and finally stayed in the capital he longed for. Not long after, he found a local boyfriend from Beijing. Their relationship was pretty good, but he never goes to his boyfriend's home. He was afraid of his girlfriend's parents asking about his family situation. For him, it's a scar. He doesn't want to lose face. Every month, he always sends 500 yuan home for his younger siblings to go to school. He thinks that for his parents, he has done his best. He has learned to compare with those around him. In this city with a large gap between the rich and the poor, his desires are constantly expanding. He wears famous brands, laptop, and jewelry. He can't be worse than others. To show her good family background, she bought many things for her boyfriend, and these things are all from her so-called salary. Can't be satisfied. Eventually, she was found to have embezzled over 100,000 yuan. Her boyfriend didn't share the burden with her, but disappeared from her life. Completely disappeared. Her usual friends also avoided her. Only a few best friends took out their wedding money to lend her. There was still 30,000 yuan short. She was completely broken. He was only 24. He didn't want to go to jail. Finally, he even thought of committing suicide. His mother learned the news from his best friend, learned of the news, and called the village party secretary's home. His mother, after listening to her friend's intermittent words, and was stunned for a long time, she firmly said, you tell my son, don't think about suicide. I'm here. His mother never asked for help in her life. To find money to exchange her daughter, she gave up her dignity. She borrowed money from relatives. She sold several pigs at home, and sold them, and almost all the valuable things at home. The money he sent to his mother every month, but she didn't touch a penny, just for emergencies. In less than a month, he collected 30,000 yuan. That time, he didn't leave the county. Led by his sister who was in college, came to the capital for the first time, and went to the rented room. The first time his mother saw him, her first words were, you've suffered, son, I'll make something delicious for you, and started to busy herself in the kitchen. His sister was by his side, and told him how she raised money. She said, sister, do you know, you have always been my pride, and I have always been proud of you. I love you the most in my heart. Sister, you rarely come home. You may not know that, for our tuition fees has sold blood many times. Her originally dead heart was slowly melted, and finally cried with his sister in his arms. The mother, who was less than 1.6 meters tall, the short mother, prepared his favorite shredded potatoes and egg soup, as if nothing had happened, but the firmness in her eyes made her look tall. He lifted his mother's sleeve, and saw the dance needle marks on her arm, with dance needle holes. Mother, he did this for the first time. He threw himself into his mother's arms, like a baby. In his warm embrace, he found the power and love of rebirth. Today's story ends here. If it touched you, please share it.